Thank you. Thank you. The theme of today's meeting is serendipity. And I did look it up, but how do you understand the meaning of that word? We use it in different ways. Who's got a definition, or how do you understand it? Anybody? There's no wrong answer. Yeah.
Kind of a pleasant aligning of things that happen pleasantly in
Yeah.
one place.
Exactly. Anybody else? How do you understand the word? Is there? So there's a store called Serendipity? Yeah. So sweet stuff. That's good. And what else?
I think random.
That's it. What the three of you just said was what I found as the definition of the word. So it's a lot of random things that come together and create a situation. So serendipity is a pleasant situation that you can be in. So I want to put out another question here. What are some things that you would consider serendipitous as a creative person in Las Vegas who wants to make their living selling their creativity? Anybody? And there's many, many answers. They're all right. What's a serendipitous situation if you want to make a living with your creativity? Or what are some aspects? What do you want? You find a client or clients who jives with you is big. I'm going to talk about that today. What are some other ones?
You go to openings, art openings, or exhibit openings, and you meet people who have similar interests.
Meeting people in creativity with similar interests. That's very cool. Yeah, obviously that increases your chances of serendipity happening, right? Any others? Okay, I'm going to share mine. For me, my strategy is I work hard to create the best possible chance for serendipity to occur with my clients. When that happens, I can make a living doing this stuff, and I make a living with my hands on the keyboard, which is the thing that I want the most. And I've found there are 10 things that clients want. I'm going to read this part to you, then I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to go over each one of these 10 items. I'm not saying that you can always give everything to clients that they want. I'm not making that argument. But I am saying, at the very least, as a creative person, if you want to get paid, you have to work with your client's wishes, not against your client's wishes. A lot of us are doing that. A lot of us work against our clients. So with that, we're going to get started, and we might as well start with talking about money. I can't talk about how much anybody should charge, but I can tell you this much when you price yourself. Clients want fixed prices for packaged goods more than they want hourly fees. If you're a graphic artist, maybe you charge $50 or $100 an hour, and you know how many hours a project takes, and a client will come in and say, I want a business card, I want a brochure, I want a poster. And you look at it, and you know it's 3 hours. Well, we charge $50 an hour, and we'll work on it till the clients don't want to hear that. Because the next question they're going to say is, well, how many hours is it going to take? And you might look at it and go, well, it's going to be about 3 hours. They want a fixed price, all right? You can't always do that. How many people design websites in here? And how many people are in video production? See, these are big projects where you have to call a lot of people in. So I know it's tricky to do this. And I'm not saying you do this absolutely, but I do want you to know that clients want fixed prices. Number 2, clients want to control the pace and the timing of a project. Absolutely. If you should turn in your work promptly. If you say I'm going to have this much done in 5 days, you better have it done in 5 days. But if once you submit work, you need to let clients respond at their pace, and you need to let them control the pace. If you push clients, I can almost promise you they're going to push back. If you try and rush clients, they're going to slow you down. If you say something, we want to get this part of the project done so that in 2 weeks we can stay with our timeline, they will take 4 weeks just to show you who's in charge. They will do that, by and large. Here's the good part, though. There's one way that's almost a fail-safe way to know when a project's really going to end, and it's in the jingle world. I always ask clients this up front. When everything's friendly and we're just getting started, say, when do you think you might want this jingle on the air? and one of two things happen. They'll say, my season is July 1st, and I've got to have this thing running in June. If I hear that from a client, I know that project's going to go quickly because they want it on the air. We're not going to have this long dance. They actually want something on there. That actually doesn't happen too much. Mostly in my world with clients, they say to me things like, well, we want to get this right. Now, at that point, I know one thing for sure is that I don't know for sure how long the job's going to take. But I'm also not going to count that money. I also understand this is a job that's going to go a certain amount of time. Clients want to control the pace of the project. Always remember that. Number 3, clients are not interested in what you've done for others. They are only interested in what you will do for them. How many people have a demo reel of their creative work? I do. Okay. Is the demo reel front and center on your website? Yes or no? Just call it, yeah. All right. Mine isn't. I'll tell you why. I figured this out. This is what I found. Clients don't want to sit and listen to stuff I've done for other people. Clients have a certain amount of questions, and that's what I put on my website. We call them frequently asked questions. I don't even label them FAQs. Clients don't want to know what other people are frequently asking. They have their questions. They want answers to their questions. I have the advantage of having been around for a little while, and I hear the same questions over and over and over again. My website is just a series of questions. I know what questions clients ask when they want a jingle, and I almost know the order that they ask them. That stuff is pretty predictable, and that's the order. I don't even have to show it to you. When you go to my website, it's going to say in the client's language, how much is a jingle? What if I don't like it? These are the things they ask. If somebody really wants to hear my demo, I have demos of tons of stuff I've done. It's on a SoundCloud page. I can send them there if they really want to hear it. If they want to hear that stuff, I know that they're not actually likely to buy from me very soon. Clients who are ready to buy, who are the clients that I want their questions answered, and I get right to it. Phone numbers on top, emails on top, and their questions. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I am telling you this. Clients are not that interested in what you've done for other people. They're really only thinking about what you're going to do for them. Next. Clients do not want to admit any of their fears, and they won't. But they are afraid. I'm going to say it again. Clients are afraid. And their biggest fear is that they're not going to like what you do for them. It's a tough one to solve, but if you work, like I say, if you work with it instead of against it. I will tell you what my strategy is. I tell clients when I first talk with them, I tell them, I'm going to keep working until you're happy. I'm going to keep working until you're happy. Now, if you were my manager, you might say, well, you can't just keep giving them. You're right, I can't. But this is the number one fear that they're afraid of. I make clients feel good when I first talk with them. And I almost always hear, this is how the conversation goes. And I had one yesterday. I said, I'm going to keep working until you're happy. And I tell them, this is a process. I'm going to submit some work to you next week. I said, but that's only the first step in a process. You might like it, you might not. I'm going to keep working until you're happy. And you know what the response is I get? Thank you. It happens every time. That's their biggest fear. You got to be aware of it. You have to develop your own strategy. I've shared mine. Number 5, clients do not want to tell you what they want at first. That's almost always true. There's a lot of different reasons for it. I'll say that again. That's almost always true. They do not want to tell you what they want at first. Many times I have a first conversation with a client, and they actually spell out, these are the words I want in the jingle, this is the style of music we want, and this is a singer that I like. And I'm like, cool, here we go. And when they tell me real specific stuff, it's actually pretty easy, and I put it together, and then I present it, and I'm all ready, and what's the thing that they say? They go, well, what we really had in mind was, and you're ready to pull your hair out. Well, actually, what I've learned is they don't want to tell you what they want at first. Sometimes they don't know. There's another reason. When you tell somebody what you want, and it really is what you want, you actually empower that person. And clients who run businesses trade in the currency of power. And sometimes they're ready, even though they've hired, when I'm talking with someone, they've already given me half the money. I have a deposit, it's in my bank account, I've got their signature on a work order. They're still not ready to give the power over to me. They want me to expose my idea, and then they either want to contribute to it or they want to overrule it in front of other people. It sounds cold, but it's what happens. The best strategy you can do to protect yourself against this is to be very mindful of your costs, both financial costs, time costs, and even your emotional costs when you first present something. It's usually only the first step in a process. Number 6, clients don't want your opinion. Or let me reread this. Clients want to hear your opinion, but they don't want your opinion. They do not want your expertise, but they do want your talent. Think about that and keep that as best you can straight. Beware of one thing when a client says to you, if you ever hear this, I want to tell you something. It's going to feel good when you hear it, and I want to tell you you're in trouble. When a client says to you, well, I don't know, you're the expert. Has anybody heard, how many people have heard that before? How many people, of the people who raised their hands, how many people knew you were in a little bit of trouble? All right. You don't want to hear that from a client. I'll share with you what I do. I tell, in the first conversation I have with a client, I actually delineate where my expertise is, and I draw a real clear line for the client, and I say, this is where my expertise stops, and I need your input. I try as best I can to make them feel safe, and I make them understand, I do know some things. I can contribute this. I can put options on the table for you, but I'm going to need you. We are going to work on this together. As gracefully and as elegantly as you can do that for your clients, the smoother your jobs will go and the more serendipity you will have. Number 7, always, clients want options. Even when they tell you exactly what they want, and it even is what they want, which does happen sometimes, and then you give it to them, very likely they won't approve it right away. They want options. What you have to do, this is the good part, you're aware of this going in, so you know they want options. You protect yourself against cost, and you can also control the range of what the options are. Clients can kill me if they were to say something like, yeah, I like the music, I like the words, you've got our slogan, you got our phone number, you got our website. Well, yeah, it's all ready. Now, I'd like to hear 5 different singers, and I'll pick one. I can't have that. I can't afford it. I pay people when they come in, and there's not enough money to pay everybody. So I actually know how to steer them away from that, and I draw their attention away from those options, and I steer them towards other options to protect myself financially. This is one of my, maybe one of the most devious, it feels a little devious sometimes, but listen, a client has no compunction about racking up my costs because they do want options. So they do want options, control the options that they can see, and it's almost, who has kids? Don't you do this with your little kids? You know, okay, you can have either the chocolate bar or the vanilla bar. You can't, is that what you do? Yeah. Yeah.
One option's always good and one's
Yeah, and but you control, this is your range. You can actually do that with clients a little bit. All right, number 8, really important, really dangerous, and clients don't want to be made to look stupid. And I want to tell you something. It's really easy to do, and you're not trying to do it. You can sincerely, in your heart, be trying to help a client understand or teach them or show them something, and you're having the opposite effect. You are exposing that they don't know something, and you're doing it in front of the office staff, their ad agency or other people. Clients run, especially if it's the business owner, they run the business and their mind is the source of everything that happens in that business. And then you come in and you're going to teach them something. You have to be very, very careful. Very careful when you need to explain things to a client. I'm going to give you one example from the jingle word. The Glenn Lerner jingle is 6 seconds long. Okay? Glenn Lerner's way. Okay, that is 6 seconds. Now, most commercials are either 15 or 30 seconds. So many times I get an assignment to produce a 30-second piece of music with singing at the end. And in our jargon, that's called an end-sing jingle. Okay? It's a very typical kind of jingle. What I used to do is I used to explain to clients, yeah, there's 25 seconds of music, just instrumental music, and then the singers come in at the end. And they would go, yeah. And they'd be like, yeah, I get it, okay. So then I would present the thing to them, and they would go, what's all this music? It's funny, but it was happening over and over again. It took me forever to figure this out. What I learned is clients don't want to be explained anything that they haven't asked. And so what I learned is whenever I present a 30-second piece of audio, it's got to be complete. So it's got to have voiceover in it. In your creative world, draw that analogy. Clients need to hear complete pieces as much as possible. And they don't want to be explained things. Number 9. At the end of the project, clients want the creativity to be their idea, mostly their idea, or at the very least, containing their influence, and they want to see it or hear it front and center. I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what clients want. These are the things that motivate them. When people are frustrated with clients, it's one of these things that are going on. They want to contribute and or collaborate. They're afraid, like I told you. They want options, like I told you. But at the end of the project, their influence has to be on it. If you've done a job for someone and it's going well, and you're almost done and it's almost ready to close, and if their creativity and if their idea isn't in there somehow, don't be surprised from this day forward if that job doesn't close yet, or if there's problems right before it was supposed to happen. Clients need to contribute. Last one. This one I'm going to read to you. It's short. Clients want your respect. You should be somewhat in awe of any human being who can afford to pay for your creativity. You should be curious and mindful of the path they took to get there. If you don't know the path they took, ask them. That's how you diffuse a lot of this stuff. Get to know the clients. Get to know how they could afford to pay you money to just come up with ideas for them. All right? Questions, blowback, argue with me, disagree. You know what? We've got a list here, right? All 10 of them are up there. You can refer back.